to withstand. But here we go, finally, without further ado, we have a game in front of us starting over here at the bottom right side of Deadwing LE, representing Fnatic. He is the creator of the selfie. It is Harstem. Probably should up my graphics a little bit. What am I, my graphic, oh, that's right, I played ladder. I'm like, why are my graphics so low? I'm like, I don't think I turned them down. I forgot I actually played some ladder between all of this mess. Alright, and of course, over at the top right side of the map, the creator of the universe himself, it is Nestea. Of course, representing the GEM, the management group. If you guys don't know, aren't too familiar with them, don't worry. don't worry, management groups, man. Like, yeah, it's kind of like a very just kind of like a weird obligatory like sponsor. Like, doesn't really mean like too much. But management group, you know, it's stuff like, you know, agents and whatnot. You know, get all the players that they want, make sure they're taken care of and whatnot. And I guess I would assume they get like a little bit of cut of you know, some money, some prize money or something like that, or some of the sponsorships. I don't know. They probably work with them really well. I mean, especially if this group works with guys like MVP or Tastosis, you know, multiple personalities, not just StarCraft 2, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, so we're going to be kicking things off, of course. Did I put Harstem as 1-0? No, it should be 0-0. This is the first game of the series, of course. Harstem is going to be opening up actually with a Forge Fast Expand. I feel like I have not seen this build opener for quite a while. You know, it's very rarely used, but on a map like this, you know, it actually doesn't hurt to attempt it because, you know, you put the Forge down, you're going to be able to get a gate, probably a pylon, probably actually better off to get actually a cyber core or something as part of the wall if it's just that thick of a wall. So we'll see though exactly what Harstem plans to see. Is already Nestea does have his pool finishing up, but prior to that pool we have gas. So Nestea looking to get a little bit of timing going here for himself. And Harstem, of course, will actually drop down the Nexus. Very interesting. I have to be very careful here, very cautious, because right now, oh, he's going to do that type of wall. Okay, I thought he was going to go across. Never mind. I've seen this once. It's a very interesting wall off. It's still a little bit peculiar to me, but no, he's actually not going to go this way with it. Okay, very interesting. Well, we'll see. We'll see how he finishes this wall off. Okay, he's got the cannon coming up. There's already 4 lings out on the map. There's some more. Maybe following this up. No, it looks like we just at least have speed now. The good thing about having a cannon up, you will be able to at least, hopefully, have a better chance or at least better odds from holding off some sort of speedling all in of any. But of course, with the speedlings out early on the map, it does take away a little bit of a presence of Harstem or whatever presence that you might have wanted to keep. He's doing actually a pretty decent job of hiding this probe right now. We'll see though if Nestea spots it. He does indeed, barely on the very edge of his vision. There is that probe. We'll see if he goes for it. Ling's starting to carve away at the rocks at the right side of the map. Nestea, of course, you know, playing this very smart because he knows, of course, he can't obviously run through the main wall over here, so better force some structures to get placed over here, force some additional econ out from Harstem right now. This, of course, will just should or force just one cannon. Of course, I'll move the Overlord out of the way. We'll force the Lings back, but I mean, hey, that's 100, actually not just 100, but actually 250 extra minerals that Harstem might have not wanted to spend on that, so we'll kind of keep an eye on that. 21 to 24 in terms of workers. Back over here on Nestea's side of things, he already has speed finished up. We'll see if he decides to just send a flood of lings in, or if he just plans to maybe take a third hatch and macro up behind this. Again, just due to the fact that, you know, Harstem's, I want to say, almost over preparing, I would say that it might not be too bad of a time for him to grab a third hatch. Like, no, I guess he's gonna go right for Lair. I don't know. At least in terms of me, like when I watch ZVP, in these scenarios, like especially if your opponent's Forge Fast expanding, the only reason why you shouldn't be able to grab a third hatch very quickly is if you don't know that he's actually going to Forge Fast Expand. So Nestea scouted out at a fairly decent time, I want to say, with the Overlord. So there should have been not too much of a reason why you shouldn't have a third hatch down already. Now Queen's kind of moving out. We're going to try to clear this probe out of the way. Probe for Harstem does pull back for the time being. We'll probably lose it. Now with Nestea going for quick lair, we could see a little bit of style that we saw last week in the Red Bull Qualifiers. Actually, no, it wasn't Red Bull. It was DreamHack. It was DreamHack Valencia. We saw in DreamHack Valencia somebody like Lenok. He went for quick lair, dropped second hatch, and dropped about a 7 to 8 minute third hatch. But basically, he went a very heavy influx of Ling Roach, and this made it very tough for the Protoss opponent to ever grab a third base, and had to make sure that he had enough units out. And usually, it was a little bit too much for him to handle. We see the infestation pick come down, so man, we might just be seeing quick swarm hosts. This is very interesting coming out from Nestea. Like, this is not the usual style, at least I'm used to seeing, but at the same time I haven't really watched Nestea for the past month, I would say, closely. Like, he does streams on Azubu, like him, MVP, and a bunch of other guys that are getting picked up by Azubu, but I haven't watched him in about a month. Last time I checked, he did like to go a little bit more Ling, get the mutas out a little bit sooner. But we'll see. We'll see what happens here. Oracle flying in from the north side over here. We'll see how much damage is going to get done. No Spore Crawlers and no Queen in position, so actually this Oracle could get quite a bit of damage done on Nestea right now. As we see, already starting to lose a hefty amount of workers. 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, almost gets 7, but man, 6 workers, 7 total kills. Actually, 7 kills. So we got 7 total workers. Man, that's actually absolutely incredible. Of course, Nestea, he's got 5 queens. It looks like he's just going to be trying to press out with Swarm Hosts and go for a very heavy like Swarm Host with queens as kind of the anti-air defense, and try to press up into his opponent. Now, the thing with having 5 queens right now out on the map, they're of course going to be regenerating energy. They're going to be able to spread and push this creep across the map very quickly. And due to the positions, they're vertical. They're not cross positions. So this is just going to head right on down. He's going to be able to press it right in front of his face. Now, I see what he might have wanted to do right here. I was going to say Nestea probably would have loved to actually somehow manage and send the creep. Not the creep, but the queens all the way over to the third base and start dropping creep tumors to kind of get that north to south spread going. Connect it a little bit sooner. Now this is going to be very tricky for Harstem right here, because if these swarm hosts do start coming out in hefty chunks and he starts pushing the creep spread very quickly across the map, this is going to be very tough, I want to say, for Harstem the whole. He's going to need to make sure he's got a good influx of Void Rays. He's going to need to make sure he's got a good influx of units, because for those that are unfamiliar with this type of style, at least with Storm Host Queen, the thing is, you're trying to put a lot of pressure with free units on your opponent early. You're trying to take advantage a little bit of the numbers game. They might not have enough Colossus out yet. They might not have enough anti-air. They might not have something just AoE generally that can press it back. So as the upgrades and more Swarm Hosts do come out, he's going to continue pressing. And again, as we mentioned earlier, he's got 4 to 5 queens out here in the map, and with 4 to 5 queens just crapping creep tumors, this creep spread spreads very quickly. Very quickly across the map, and just force fields alone are not going to be actually able to tackle this with sentries. He's going to actually need to get Colossus out, and you can see the robos coming down, but I'm really worried for Harstem right now. He's either going to need a lot of Void Rays really quickly with an Observer to press through, or he's going to need to get Colossus out very quickly, because this is going to be a lot of forces coming out his way. Now, Oracle Harass does continue from Harstem right now. He clears out all the drones over on the gas, so it does give himself a little bit of an advantage. Nestea, for the time being, pulls back all those queens. Now, the thing that makes this even more trickier than usual, than somebody might be used to, is the fact once this creep spread starts getting very close to his opponent, he's going to just start taking, he's just going to start building a camp. He's going to pitch a tent, get the stakes up. He's going to make sure, everything is stable, sturdy, probably start putting down some Spore Crawlers just to make sure he's got some of that static anti-air defense, especially, like I said, the danger is some of these units like Void Rays right now out on the map. Everything else is not dangerous. Stalkers are not dangerous. Sentries are not dangerous. Sentries are just a barrier. They're the only unit that's actually going to be preventing a lot of these locusts from actually reaching Harstem right now. So you could see Harstem's just like, get away, don't touch me. The Swarm Hosts are lava. Now, this is kind of cute because Nestea's focus on the game should be on that right side of the map, and especially on those Swarm Hosts. What he's not going to be ready for is this hidden expansion coming out from Harstem. Now, Harstem's already got a third base up. If he gets a fourth base up, I'm going to assume he's going to, majority of the time, use this for just gas econ. Get that 7th and 8th gas up. Almost like one of those, 5th or 6th hatcheries for a Zerg. or physics base, because you really need only gas for the most part. Now, though, we could see a lot of force fields were dropped right there, so a lot of energy wasted on those sentries. Still trying to position himself and find a way through all of this, but again, like I said, this is going to be pretty chaotic. This is going to be very, very chaotic to actually get through. Queens are just right then and there supporting him, and now also on top of the Queen's support, he's most likely going to be able to either go into mutas or corruptors. A very, very tricky position to find himself in. Like, if Harstem pulls this off, I'm going to be very impressed. I'm just saying right now, I'm going to be very, very impressed. And I'm more so interested to see right now what kind of units is he planning to make right now with the Spire. Is it going to be mutas? Because he's already spent quite a bit of gas right now on these swarm hosts. So, meanwhile, inside the main base, we do have the Warp Prism Crass coming in. A lot of Zealots. Charge is also just about done. So, these are, of course, +2 Zealots, so they will have that little bit extra kick, starting to focus down the Spore Crawler, the Hatchery, and also the spawning pool. So, pretty hefty losses for Nestea if he continues sitting right here. And this is the one thing right now, Nestea is being too distracted by this army on the right side of the map. He needs to really make sure he defends all of this at home somehow. If he sits too long dancing around with these units out in the middle of nowhere, he's not going to really find himself in a good position. Now, Lair goes down, Spawning Pool goes down. A lot of things that Nestea needs to begin rebuilding. He does have mutas out on the map, fortunately. He needs to really get those mutas involved. He's got one right now inside the main base. Stalker's coming in to help support. We'll be able to get a free pick off on the muta right there. And this is just a little bit of a chaotic scenario for Nestea, because he's got to really be all over the place and get himself in a position to defend. Stalker's blink out of the way on the right side. He's going to just recall out of the way. Looks like under that third base. Hidden Expansion is alive and well. Starting to get some resource collection out of there, as well as grabbing those gases. Meanwhile, over here, still many problems to speak of. This is a lot of Stalkers with Blink right now. He's got to be actually very careful. Nestea just, not in the best of positions, I want to say. More mutas are starting to come out. Fortunately, that Spire was at the natural. I could only imagine if that Spire was actually in the main, what kind of a chaotic scenario he would be in. I would almost want to say maybe even checkmate, but upgrade starting on the Spire. Will use drones to try to maybe push off, but eventually does lose the Spire. More Stalkers get warped in, using the drones to fight, and he'll have to have some miraculous micro right now. Both players actually will. Meanwhile, over here, we do have the Nexus under attack. The wall has been breached, and you can see just those Locusts, man. They get some work done. They get some work done when they got those +2 upgrades. So they clear out that third Nexus, but remember, Harstem does have that hidden expansion down at the bottom left side of the map. Very sneaky, very tricky play. Almost loses the Observer. The mutas are coming back over here to try to help out, utilizing once again the drones, the Spine Crawler and the mutas to try to help himself out in this scenario. Slowly picking away at the Stalkers. Again, the resource count for both players is still very healthy, but the problem is a lot of the production is just getting camped for Nestea by these Stalkers, and you can just see they're doing absolute destruction on these mutas, and all the mutas get cleared out. So right now, Nestea really just has basically this to work with. Unfortunately. He's going to start trying to take a hammer away at the Queens, but these Queens do have full energy. Knock down the Mothership Core. A lot of transfuses available for the time being. One Void Array goes down. 2 Void Arrays go down. And now really no defenses back at home. And as long as Nestea keeps pressing his way, he'll end up actually camping his opponent's production as well. Warp Prism Harass, though, on the other side of the map will be able to finish off a lot of this. Unfortunately, almost not really what something you want to do right now is actually try to produce anything from these hatcheries. Nestea, meanwhile, over here trying to work his way and hopefully trying to manage to clear out the DTs and maybe put up some Spine Crawlers. But again, this is just a lot of forces at work. He's building Spore Crawlers. He's actually bringing back a few of these Swarm Hosts. And now, is there an Observer? There was one when I saw last. I'm not sure if he has lost it just yet. But with these Swarm Hosts, he should be able to actually slowly, pick away at some of these units, kind of clear them out of the way. We could see Nestea starting to drop into the supply, 87 to 113. Man, just such a tricky scenario to be in. More DTs are getting warped in, but there are a lot of Spore Crawlers ready and in position. Locusts working their way as well. That +2, man, the +2 does some damn damage. Lifts off, looks like all of those DTs. Locusts continuing to work away at the Blink Stalkers. Locust clearing out actually a lot of the production over here. Harstem loses his second Nexus as well as everything else basically over here. Now Colossus are almost at that magical number. I want to say 6 is that magic number, at least in my opinion. Once it gets to 6, these swarm hosts will become a little bit less effective, or at least, you know, it's one of those. It's going to be manageable for him to start clearing these swarm hosts. Like, he's got 2 in productions. Once these 2 come out, I think he should be okay. Now the tricky part over here, he might have to utilize some really nasty Warp Prism Micro and get them out of here. He'll have to evacuate, basically. He'll basically have to evacuate. Or, you know, it's either evacuate or hold the bridge over here, because right here, this is probably one of the better areas actually to work against choked up locusts. But the longer this goes, we're watching the locusts just starting to work their way, hammer away at the gates, hammer away at the additional production that he might have left. Meanwhile, for Nestea back at home right now, looking pretty decent. That Dark Templar just escapes, man, with his life. Alright, so Swarm Hosts do kind of reconvene right here under the ramp. I would say a very scary position to find yourself in, but they will start clearing a little bit of a path, and that's actually going to help them out. That's going to allow them to have more surface area. They're not going to get aggroed by something silly. Queens are also coming up here to help out. Now the Queens can't get too far away from the Locusts, because these Colossus, if they do have range, they're going to be able to walk up and snipe them down, and you do not want them sniping this down. Good the Contaminate. You sometimes just forget about that ability. Good Contaminate on that Robo, trying to prevent that final Colossus from coming out. Creep continuing to spread on forward right now. Bringing actually back to Swarm Host. And I think this is smart. I think he realized what the numbers game was right there, how many he actually had right there. Now Observer, of course, comes up here with these Dark Templar, does snipe down one Swarm Host, but still a lot of Locusts in the game right now. Colossus starting to work their way forward. If these Colossus actually clear out all these Swarm Hosts, I see Nestea probably losing this game. Like right now, he's still fighting in the game. He's trying to work his way back up. He's got a chance, you know, to retake his natural. He's got this third base underway. He needs a little bit of time. Harstem, meanwhile, over here, he does have 2 bases that you got to account for as well. It's not like he's dead economically. But he is losing the Colossus. I think he just lost one of the Colossus and might lose a second one right here. Uh-oh. Shields are falling off. He's got 3 observers with him, so detection's not the issue here. It's just positioning. Nestea doing a good job of microing back, catching Harstem a little bit off guard. Recall to the other side of the map. To the other side of the map. Manages actually to recall with all the probes as well, so now he could actually just saturate this natural completely as well. So, and this is going to end up being pretty nice for him, because he's going to take the gas, split up 3 for 3. He's going to lose 6 probes to the gases, and he's going to be basically fully saturated with a very efficient mining too as well. Now Nestea is of course going to be sending these Locusts up inside the main base right here, and he's going to spot, man, where the hell is this army at? And uh-oh, Storm Host coming over here to the bottom left side of the map, getting greeted by something I imagine they do not want to be greeted by. Now Spire up once again, recreating the mutas. Fortunately, that's what happens when you got a bit of a nice gas bank. Right now, actually, if I was Nestea, consider flying across the map and going for an attack. I know it's kind of one of those things like hindsight 2020. We see the game as it's happening, so we can make some of these reads as they go. But there hasn't really been anything that would, you know, give Nestea concern that there are stalkers, that there's like serious anti-air. You should be able to actually just fly over with the mutas and start sniping down the Colossus. Once the Colossus go down, Nestea could actually win this game. And here comes these Colossus trying to fight off the Locusts, and as they're microing back, here comes the mutas, and uh-oh, trouble in paradise right now. That one final Stalker does go down. Really, right now, Harstem doesn't have any anti-air to really speak of. Second Stalker getting warped in, but now he's just starting to lose units. Photon Overcharge, of course, might be the one saving grace, but doesn't even activate it. Just types in well played. Nestea manages to pull the game off.